I'm here with Tosin. We've just witnessed Arsenal in their second Champions League match game of the season. They've won 2-0 against PSG. Tosin, your initial assessment of that game?
Professional performance, clean sheet, scored 2 goals, beat a top European side like PSG. I'm happy.
Anyone in particular stand out for you tonight?
I liked what I saw from Trossard. I liked how he bought space for Havertz for the goal. Saliba was immense the second half, the blocks and the interceptions. Timber as well. So those would be the main thing. And of course Havertz that got the goal, yeah.
Yeah, much has been said about Havertz. The way he held the ball up, the work he did off the ball, the goal he got, showed a lot of bravery. And, you know, he looked good all game today. A lot of people saying he was man of the match. Would you co-sign that?
Yeah, I would give him man of the match. I think his importance to Arsenal is very, very clear now. I mean, like the way he's actually put aside all of the issues around his price tag and how much he was getting paid, and the way, like, it's like night and day. You can't really even, he looks completely different from the Havertz that started at this point last season. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can see his confidence. I think he's growing into the role and he's becoming a goal threat, which is something that not a lot of people were saying last season. So yeah, he looks good. And you quite rightly mentioned, I thought Trossard played well. Saka got another goal. I thought he looked good today. Martinelli. Now, let's talk about Martinelli because, listen, he did his thing. He worked hard as he always does, but he did have a few chances in the game that you would expect a player of his ability to put away. He didn't. Is that a concern for you?
Yes and no. Knowing that it happens, but yes in the fact that it's like one of the things, when you looked at Arsenal's front line probably 2 seasons ago, you'd say probably one of the best finishers or one of our better finishers was Martinelli. Every time, if I had 10 chances in front of goal and I said, okay, which player do I think is going to get me the highest return out of Saka, Martinelli or Jesus? Like, this is 22-23 season. I'm thinking Martinelli, but I don't know what's happened to him. I think maybe it's a confidence thing, but he's not as razor sharp in front of goal. I don't get it. The 2 chances he had today, like Martinelli of 2 seasons ago, he's a lot more incisive. He's a lot more, there's more edge. There's more of a meanness about him in terms of the way he strikes a ball. But now it's just a bit timid. So it's strange.
Would you have liked to have seen Sterling on for him? A few people have said that they would have liked to have seen Sterling come on. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because the space opened up in the second half. You saw PSG, they had more of the ball. They were trying to pin us in our half, but there was always huge amounts of space on the counter. And Sterling is an expert at running in behind. And Martinelli looked tired as well. So I was surprised that sub didn't happen. I really was.
Yeah, a few people online have said that. Let's talk about a sub that did come on, his first appearance for Arsenal. The fans have been waiting to see him. Mourinho I'm talking about now. What did you make of him?
I think he looked good. He won a few duels. Obviously, you see he's a bit rusty because when he did win his duels and then he like distributed, maybe probably 60% of the time he found his man, but sometimes maybe like the pass wasn't the best. But he looked good when he came on, to be honest. He gave us a bit more bite in midfield at a time when we needed it. So I'm looking forward to see what he does.
Do you think he will get any minutes or maybe even start against Southampton, or do you think it's too early for that?
I think he'll get minutes. I think it'll probably be the same. It depends on the game state, but I mean, if the game goes, hopefully not like the way it went against Leicester, if the game goes like the way it went today, I'd be surprised if he didn't come on to get some minutes, especially because Partey as well. I don't think he's going to be doing a full 90 against Southampton. So it'll be interesting to see if he brings on Marino or he goes with Jorginho.
One of the other guys that's been playing a peripheral role this season, Gabriel Jesus. Now, here you guys was talking about him on the watch along now. He's in a bit of a difficult situation at the moment because I think it's something like 19 games since he scored for Arsenal. So it's a difficult period for him. You can see he's trying his best, but for whatever reason, it's not quite coming off. What do you see as his long-term future at the club, if indeed there is a long-term future for him at the club?
To be honest, his long-term future at the club is bench, man. I can't see. No, he's honestly, let's just be real. I think that's the best he can aspire to now, this Arsenal team. I think, bro, you came in, you elevated the mentality of the team, 22-23 season. We loved you for that 2 to 3 month spell before the World Cup. But ever since then, I think it's just he's been on the decline. And I think his body's failing on him, and his decision making as well in the crucial moments in the box. He's trying to do too much, which it makes sense. He's trying to make an impression, and it's just not coming off for him. So, yeah, at best he can aspire to be a benchman in a team that hopefully will win something big.
Okay, honestly spoken. Let's talk about Arsenal's Champions League chances. So, as I said earlier, it's their second Champions League game. The first game against Atalanta in Italy, potentially a difficult game. We came out with a draw. Today is far more convincing at home to PSG. But I want to ask you, how far do you think Arsenal can go in the competition?
I think they can win it. I really do. I think we've got the best defence in Europe. I know European games tend to be different from what we do in the league. But I think hopefully the team can step up in mentality and maturity. And I see no reason why they can't go all the way, to be honest. I'm looking at other teams and I'm probably thinking the only team that, if we went up against now, that would probably scare me would be Man City, Real Madrid. That's it.
No Bayern?
Bayern knocked us out. It may sound obnoxious me saying it. Bayern knocked us out last season, and credit to them. But there wasn't really much between the two teams when we played Bayern Munich. I think we can beat them, in my opinion.
No, I wouldn't disagree with you on that. I mean, like you said, man, we got one of the best, if not the best defences in Europe. And they say that defences win championships and titles. So listen, why not? In terms, looking forward slightly, I don't like to always do that, but I feel like we must do. Yeah, definitely one game at a time. But now we've got this one out of the way. We can focus a little bit on the Southampton game at the weekend. Now, it is an important game. I guess my question to you is, what team do you go with for Saturday?
That's a tough one. I'd like to see Ethan start. I would really like to see him start. And maybe I'd like to see Sterling get a game as well. Why not rest Saka, play Sterling on the right? I'd still play Martinelli and I'd still play Havertz. Havertz, it seems like he's able to stay fit for a lot of games. I play him, considering it's an international break. I play Martinelli. He needs confidence. He needs goals. And if it's going to be a Southampton and Leicester to stat pad and get you the confidence boost you need, so be it. But I would start Ethan. I'd like to see him play. But then the question is, do you drop Trossard, who's playing so well now? So it's a difficult one for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear that. And
that back four picks itself, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yep, I would agree with that. And in closing, in terms of, if I could give you one to win, in terms of, you know where I'm going with this, right?
You guys do this?
No, because the reason why I say that is because you said quite unequivocally you think we can go on and win the Champions League. I've spoken to you previously. You've said several times, both on air and off air, that we can win the Premier League. If it come down to one of the two, which one would you prefer?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. I think I'm going to need to go Champions League because we've never won it. We've never won it. And I feel like the reason why I say that is because we've got all of the players on contracts till 2027. Arteta just signed till 2027. Let's say worst case scenario, we don't win the league this season, but we win the Champions League next season. We'll still retain the majority of that squad, if not improve it, and then we can win the league next season. But Champions League, I can't be living life where Chelsea have 2 stars and we don't even have one. Like, come on.
Which one, just a supplementary to that question, which competition do you think presents the most problem? Which one is the more difficult to win? Premier League or Champions League?
Oh, without a doubt, Premier League is harder to win. It's harder to win because Champions League is like a lottery, you know. And the thing is, any team. Let's be honest. Dortmund proved it last season. They got to the Champions League final. You can beat any team over two legs, depending on who turns up. Whereas Premier League is more a test of consistency, especially with a juggernaut like Man City always breathing down your necks week in, week out. So it's way harder to win the Premier League.
Although, you know, yes, they got to the final, but they didn't win it. There's a certain team called Real Madrid they had to come up against in the final. Because I do agree with you for the most part, it is a bit of a lottery, but sooner or later you're going to come up against one of the top teams.
Yeah.
The likes of your Real Madrids, your Man City's, your Bayern Munich's, people like that. So to actually win it is different from just making the final, if that makes sense.
That is true, but then if anyone watches that final on another day, if Dortmund took their chances, like Real Madrid could have easily been 1-2 down. That was Dortmund's fault for not taking the gilt-edged chances they had against Real Madrid. And that actually aids my point. It's that even you've got a juggernaut like Real Madrid, you're expecting them to be the favourites, but then Borussia Dortmund are playing them off the park that entire first half and should be 1-2 goals up. If they take their chances, you're looking at 2-0. going into half time. Real Madrid probably would come back from that knowing them, but still.
And looking ahead to Saturday's game again, so we got the game against Southampton. Now, if we beat Southampton, which, let's face it, we should do. Okay, say we avoid defeat. That's an incredible unbeaten record that Arsenal have going into this international break. How much confidence does that give you going forward?
Huge confidence. I've been saying it the past, 2 to 3 weeks. I feel like something's shifted in our mentality. Like what I've seen from the team with all the injuries, especially coming back from the last international break, I've got nothing but full confidence in this team. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna win something big this season. So if we are able to go into the international break unbeaten and beating Southampton as well, hopefully another clean sheet, we're laughing.